All right, so you're here because you want to get smart, right? Fast. You want to cut through all the noise and get right to the substance of things.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. With something you might think you already know, boxing. But there's a whole universe of strategy underneath the surface.
We're going to take a deep dive into Mark Hatmaker's Boxing Mastery Advanced Technique, Tactics, and Strategies from the Sweet Science. Now, even if you're not planning on stepping into the ring, don't let the advanced tag throw you off. This book really gets into the science and strategy that takes boxing way beyond just throwing punches.
Right.
And understanding these fundamentals, the stances, the footwork, how power is really generated, it's surprisingly insightful no matter your background.
So think of this as like your backstage pass to the Sweet Science.
Yeah.
Our mission today is laser focused. We're going to unpack the core of stances, footwork, and this really interesting idea called the hinge principle in punching. We're after those golden nuggets, those things that really build a foundation of understanding and give you those satisfying aha moments.
And for you, our listener, whether you're a longtime fan, looking for an edge in understanding fight breakdowns, or simply curious about the mechanics of elite athletic performance, this deep dive is tailored to give you that comprehensive knowledge quickly and efficiently. We're not just describing, we're revealing the why behind the what.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Stances and guards. Seems basic, right?
You would think so, yeah.
But the book dedicates a whole chapter to it. And for good reason. How you stand. It isn't just about, being upright. It's about, it's a strategic choice.
It really is.
That dictates what you can do, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
There's a whole toolbox of these guards.
Absolutely. Hatmaker outlines 6 primary guards. Each one is a distinct blueprint for combat. We got the classic guard, the peekaboo, the crouch, the Jeffries crouch, the Philly shell, and the cross guard.
Okay, so much to unpack there.
Yeah.
Let's start with the classic guard. I think it makes sense.
I think so too.
Since it's like the foundation that the book keeps referring back to, and they use this clock face analogy for your feet. Can you kind of paint that picture for us in a way that clicks?
So imagine you're standing on a giant clock. If you're a left-handed fighter, a southpaw, your left foot would be pointing roughly towards 11 o'clock and your right foot towards 4 o'clock.
Got it.
For a right-handed fighter, it's reversed. Right foot around 2, left foot around 8. Now, this isn't some arbitrary thing. It creates a stable platform with a natural angle for offense and defense.
Right.
Think of it as setting your feet to be spring-loaded for movement and power in multiple directions.
Okay, so I can visualize that.
Yeah.
Now, how do you hold the rest of your body in this classic stance? Like, what about weight distribution? Hands, knees.
You want your weight evenly balanced over both feet, which are about shoulder width apart.
Okay.
Toes are generally pointed forward with a slight inward turn on that lead foot that helps with pushing off. Knees are slightly bent, keeping you light, ready to move. You're on the balls of your feet, not flat-footed. Okay. Hands are crucial. Your rear fist is tucked nice and tight against your jaw. That's your primary shield.
Yeah.
Your lead fist is out, around shoulder level, maybe a foot in front, like a radar. Elbows are kept close to your sides, parallel, protecting your body.
It's all about balance and readiness.
It really is, yeah.
The book mentions, legends like Gene Tunney and Sugar Ray Robinson as masters of this. What made it so effective for, such different fighters?
Exactly. The beauty of the classic guard is its versatility.
Right.
That balanced weight distribution allows for quick changes in direction, crucial for Tunney's strategic movement and ring generalship.
Right.
At the same time, it provides a solid base for launching a wide array of punches and absorbing shots.
Yeah.
Which suited Robinson's incredible all-around skill set.
Got it. So it's that foundation that allows adaptability.
Exactly.
Now, the peekaboo guard, we hear that name a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when talking about certain, iconic figures. How does it fundamentally change things from the classic?
The peekaboo is a shift towards greater head protection.
Okay.
You see a deeper crouch, which naturally shields the body more, and the forearms are held much higher, almost framing the face, like a protective barrier.
Right.
The fists themselves are often looser, less tense, ready to parry and block. Instead of meeting punches head-on, the peekaboo emphasizes slipping, weaving, and deflecting while staying coiled to counter.
So, in Trainer Customato and his fighters like Floyd Patterson were known for this. What advantage did this style give them specifically?
D'Amato was a firm believer in defensive mastery.
Uh-huh.
And the peekaboo was central to that philosophy. The high guard and bobbing and weaving made Patterson incredibly difficult to hit cleanly,
Right.
allowing him to absorb punishment and then explode with his powerful, often unpredictable punches. That deeper crouch also helped him generate power from his legs.
Okay, so then there's the crouch, which the book describes as a peekaboo variation, like dialed up for aggressive body punchers.
Yeah.
What's the trade-off when you go even lower?
When a fighter adopts that deeper crouch, widening their stance even further, they lower their center of gravity significantly.
Right.
This creates a rock-solid base for generating power, particularly for those devastating hooks and uppercuts aimed at the body. The trade-off, however, is that this wider lower stance makes lateral movement a bit slower.
Uh-huh.
So defense relies more heavily on head movement, those classic slips and rolls, to avoid incoming shots to the head.
Okay.
It becomes a high-risk, high-reward approach.
And we're talking about names like Jack Dempsey, Tommy Burns, and a young, ferocious Mike Tyson. You can definitely picture that explosive power coming from that lower stance.
Precisely. Their styles were all about overwhelming opponents with relentless pressure and thunderous power.
Yeah.
That crouch maximized their ability to generate force on those shorter-range power shots.
Right.
But they also had to be incredibly adept at moving their head and getting inside to avoid being picked apart by longer-range punches.
Okay, so moving on, we have the Jeffries crouch. How does that tweak the standard crouch?
The Jeffries crouch also employs that wider kind of clock face foot positioning, but the key difference is how the hands are held. They're carried much further forward than in the classic guard.
Okay.
This positioning is specifically geared towards delivering short, sharp, straight punches to the body and those tight, compact body hooks. The downside, similar to the standard crouch, is a reduction in foot mobility and notably less comprehensive head protection.
So it's hyper-specialized.
Yeah.
For those close quarters body attacks, sacrificing some overall defensive coverage and agility. Jim Jeffries was the main proponent here, according to the book. What can we learn from his style?
Jeffries was a dominant heavyweight known for his strength and punishing bodywork. This stance reflects a deliberate strategy to maximize his power and leverage in those close-range exchanges, focusing on wearing down opponents with those targeted body blows. It suggests an acceptance of some defensive vulnerabilities in exchange for that offensive specialization.
Now, the Philly shell. This one has a real mystique. With that very distinct lead arm position, tell us what makes it unique.
The Philly shell is all about that unconventional lead arm placement.
Right.
It's dropped low, almost resting on the hip, with the lead shoulder rolled forward, pointing towards the opponent like it's noon on our clock.
Yeah.
The rear hand comes across the torso to guard the lead side of the jaw.
Okay.
That low lead hand is crucial for protecting the liver and solar plexus, while the high lead shoulder acts as a shield for the jaw.
Yeah.
It's a very compact and defensively oriented stance, excellent for slipping punches and setting up counterhooks, but it can leave you a bit more vulnerable to the jab.
And it's famously associated with Philadelphia fighters, with Joe Frazier being the prime example.
Yeah.
How did this kind of unorthodox guard serve him so well?
For a relentless pressure fighter like Frazier, who was constantly moving forward and looking to land that devastating left hook,
Yeah.
the Philly shell was perfect. The low lead hand was primed to launch that hook from an unexpected angle, and the shoulder roll helped him absorb incoming fire as he closed the distance.
Right. He wasn't a finesse boxer who relied heavily on the jab, so that trade-off worked for his aggressive style.
Finally, we have the cross guard, which sounds like a real last resort defensive posture.
It is a very defensively focused guard,
Yeah.
often adopted when a fighter is under heavy pressure. It's a hybrid of the crouch and the Philly shell in that it often involves a wider stance. The defining feature is that crossed arm position.
Yeah.
The rear hand is brought across the face for maximum protection, and the lead glove is positioned to shield the rear jaw. You could even reverse the arm positions.
Okay.
It creates a very tight shell to ride out an attack.
But there's a significant downside to being so tightly guarded, right? That trapped arm.
Exactly. While it offers excellent protection when you're trying to weather a storm of punches, having your arms crossed like that limits your ability to counter or initiate your own offense quickly.
Yeah.
One of your primary weapons is essentially neutralized.
Fighters like Freddie Mills and Len Harvey utilized it, suggesting it can be effective in specific defensive scenarios, but it's not a sustainable offensive platform.
So the big takeaway for us is that even something as seemingly simple as how a boxer stands,
Yeah.
it is a deeply strategic decision. Each of these guards is a specific tool, designed to maximize certain strengths and minimize certain weaknesses.
Precisely. It underscores that boxing at a high level is a constant calculation of risk and reward, starting from the very foundation of your stance.
All right, let's move on to Chapter 3, footwork. The book really stresses that this is like the silent foundation of all good boxing,
Yes.
often overlooked by those who are just eager to throw punches.
Absolutely. As Hatmaker stresses, you can have the most powerful punches in the world, but without the footwork to get you into range and at the right angle, they're useless.
Yeah.
And equally important, good footwork is your first line of defense, allowing you to evade punches and stay balanced.
Right.
It's the art of controlled movement.
The book lays out some fundamental principles. What are those like absolute must-knows when it comes to moving effectively in the ring?
3 core principles stand out. First, maintain that shoulder width stance as much as possible, even while you're moving.
Okay.
This is crucial for maintaining balance and power.
Okay.
Second, avoid excessive bouncing, hopping, or shuffling. This wastes energy and disrupts your stability, making your punches less effective and making you an easier target. Third, think step and drag. Keep your feet relatively close to the floor, moving deliberately rather than with big, telegraphed steps.
Let's break down that step and drag concept a little more. What does that look like in practice?
It's a fundamental unit of movement in boxing.
Okay.
If you want to move forward, you take a controlled step with your lead foot in the direction you want to go, and then you smoothly drag your rear foot up to regain your balanced stance and maintain that consistent distance between your feet.
Okay.
The book details variations for every direction. Forward step followed by the drag, backward step and drag for retreating. Lateral steps to your lead side, outside, and away from your lead side, inside.
Got it.
And even diagonal backward movements for strategic repositioning. The speed retreat is a quicker version when you need to create immediate distance.
Okay.
It's all about efficiency and maintaining that stable platform.
So it's about being deliberate
Uh-huh.
and connected to the ground,
Yeah.
rather than just floating around.
Exactly. It's about staying grounded so you can generate power and react quickly without telegraphing your intentions or becoming an easy target.
The book also talks about the strategy of aligning with an opponent, specifically aiming your lead foot.
Yeah.
What's the tactical advantage there?
Think of it this way. If both fighters are standing directly in front of each other,
Yeah.
their feet are roughly aligned,
Okay.
like 2 people standing on parallel train tracks facing each other.
Right.
This creates a symmetrical situation. The goal of good footwork is to disrupt that symmetry
Okay.
by aiming your lead foot so it lands slightly to the outside of your opponent's lead foot, ideally somewhere between their lid and rear foot.
Right.
You gain a crucial positional advantage.
Yeah.
This inside foot positioning limits the effectiveness of your opponent's rear hand,
Got it.
both offensively and defensively. It's a subtle but powerful way to control the angles.
Okay. So then we get to the pivot. How does that add a layer of sophistication to basic stepping?
Pivoting involves rotating on the ball of your lead foot while your rear foot sweeps or drags around, allowing you to change your angle relative to your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
It's essential for creating those fluid, unpredictable movements that make you a harder target to hit cleanly
Yeah.
and that open up new angles of attack. You can pivot to your inside, moving towards your opponent's lead side,
Okay.
or to your outside, moving away from it.
Right.
Integrating pivots with your step and drag movements makes your footwork much more dynamic and less predictable.
So it's not just about moving in straight lines. It's
Yeah.
about creating angles and openings.
Precisely. After an exchange of punches, a quick pivot can take you out of the line of fire or put you in a prime position to counter.
Yeah.
It's about constantly adjusting your geometry in relation to your opponent.
The concept of centering comes up in the context of ring generalship.
Mm-hmm.
Why is controlling the center of the ring so important strategically?
Controlling the center of the ring is about controlling the real estate of the fight. By occupying the center, you dictate the pace and the direction of movement. You force your opponent to the periphery,
Right.
towards the ropes or corners where their movement is more restricted.
Right.
The book outlines drills that focus on retreating to the center,
Good.
circling both towards your opponent's power hand outside and away from it inside, using feints to draw your opponent out, and even a rapid change of direction called the wheel, all with the goal of establishing and maintaining that dominant central position.
So it's like having more options and limiting your opponent's options simultaneously.
Exactly. It's about maximizing your space and minimizing theirs, giving you a tactical advantage in terms of maneuverability and offensive opportunities.
Finally, the book describes this clapper drill as a way to sharpen footwork reflexes. How does that drill work?
The clapper drill is a dynamic exercise designed to improve your reaction time and integrate footwork with basic punches. A trainer claps at unpredictable intervals while you're moving around a target.
Right.
In the initial phase, you simply change your direction of movement each time you hear a clap. As you progress, the drill incorporates punches. 2 claps might signal a jab, 3 claps a jab followed by a cross, and 4 claps a jab, cross, and lewd hook.
Okay.
After each sequence, you shuffle out and continue moving, reacting to the next clap.
Okay.
It's all about developing that automatic connection between an external stimulus and a coordinated footwork and punch response.
So good footwork isn't just about getting around the ring.
Yeah.
It's about strategic positioning, efficient movement, creating angles, controlling space, and developing those lightning-fast reflexes. It's the invisible weapon.
Precisely. It's the foundation that underpins all offensive and defensive capabilities in boxing. Without it, even the most powerful fighter will struggle.
All right, let's delve into Chapter 6. The hinge principle. This sounds like this is the key to unlocking, real punching power. What exactly is this hinge principle in boxing?
The hinge principle is a brilliant analogy that Hatmaker uses to illustrate how to generate significantly more range, speed, and power in your punches by engaging your entire body.
Right.
Think of your upper body as a solid door and the ball of your leg foot as the hinge upon which that door swings.
I can picture that.
Yeah.
So how does this door swing translate into different punches?
For a jab, you visualize slamming that door inward towards the center line of your body, towards your chest.
Okay.
For a cross or rear straight punch, you're slamming that door outward across your body.
Got it.
A lead hook is another inside slam, while a rear hook is an outside slam. The crucial element is that you're not just using your arm and shoulder.
Right.
The power originates from that sharp pivot on the ball of your lead foot, which drives the entire motion of your upper body, the door.
So it's about generating force from the ground up, using that lead foot as like the fulcrum for the entire body's rotation.
Exactly. Hatmaker emphasizes that you should be delivering power over that lead foot.
Okay.
This allows you to generate significantly more power and reach compared to simply using your arm and shoulder strength or just twisting at the waist. It's about harnessing the power of your legs and core and transferring it efficiently through that pivotal motion.
And the book stresses that this isn't just for a few specific punches. It's a fundamental concept that applies to virtually every punch in the boxing arsenal.
Absolutely. The hinge principle is the underlying biomechanical efficiency that makes punches truly effective, regardless of the specific trajectory or target.
Right.
It's about understanding how to maximize the kinetic energy you generate through that coordinated body movement.
So the hinge principle reveals that a truly powerful punch isn't just an arm extension. It's a coordinated full-body action.
Yes.
That's rooted in that strategic pivot on the lead foot.
Right.
Maximizing the force that comes all the way from the ground.
That's the core of it. It's about transforming a simple arm strike into a more dynamic and forceful full-body movement.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
It has.
Into the foundational elements of boxing mastery.
It really has.
We've covered so much ground, from the way a fighter stands, to the way they move, to the way they generate power.
We've explored how stances are strategic blueprints, how footwork is the art of controlled positioning, and how the hinge principle unlocks the power potential in every punch.
And for you, our listener, hopefully this has provided a much deeper understanding of what truly goes into the sweet science.
I hope so.
Whether you're a casual observer or someone looking to understand the nuances of combat sports, it's clear there's so much more to it than just throwing leather.
Absolutely. It demands a keen understanding of biomechanics, strategic thinking, and the efficient application of force.
Right.
These foundational elements are key to appreciating the artistry and athleticism of boxing.
It really makes you think about how these principles of stable bases, efficient movement, and integrated power generation might apply in all sorts of other disciplines, even outside the world of sports.
Yeah.
Maybe understanding that hinge point could unlock efficiency in, unexpected ways.
That's a fascinating thought to ponder. And for those of you whose curiosity is piqued, Hatmaker's book delves into even greater detail on specific punches, defensive maneuvers, and overall ring strategy.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into the fascinating world of boxing mastery. We hope it's given you some valuable insights and those satisfying aha moments that make learning So rewarding.
I do too.
So long, everybody.
See